countries or civilizations usually use what they have. There was a lot of silver in the Middle East, so they used silver. Likewise in the US, they had a lot of silver, so the original monetary system was based on silver. But then they started discovering gold, and all the gold miners said, no, 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 we should use gold as the monetary base. So they changed. The US dollar is probably starting to come to the end. Not this month, don't worry, not this month, but it was very strong for a long time.
According to veteran investor Jim Rogers, throughout history, countries and civilizations have used their available resources to create their monetary systems. This is because money is essentially a medium of exchange, and it needs to be universally accepted and have a relatively stable value. He believes there have been attempts to establish metal-backed currencies like gold or silver standards, but they often face challenges and only last for a short time. Gold and silver-backed currencies bring forth notable advantages due to their reliance on tangible assets to uphold the value of a country's currency. Nevertheless, these currencies have their drawbacks. A significant concern arises from politicians' frequent reluctance to conform to the strictures imposed by such standards. This resistance intensifies when faced with adverse circumstances, compelling politicians to amend established rules. Rogers believes this historical pattern of altering regulations during difficult situations has consistently eroded the viability of gold or silver-backed currencies as stable and dependable systems. Regarding the US dollar's role as the world's primary international currency, Rogers suggests its dominance might end. He emphasizes that historically no currency has lasted more than 100 to 150 years as the world's primary reserve currency. While the US dollar won't be replaced as the world's reserve currency overnight, a concerted effort to eat into its dominance can erode the greenback's place and cause fundamental shifts in the financial system. If America wants to stay on top, the US can't take the dollar's status for granted. Now let's watch excerpts from Jim Rogers' interview with Resource Talks. Before we start, smash that subscribe button and remember to enable post notifications to stay updated on our latest uploads. Thank you and enjoy the video.
We haven't had a gold standard or metal standard for a long time. The history shows people periodically have tried metal standards or some metal-backed currencies. You know, the U.S. was founded on a currency that was backed by silver, and for 100 years or so, it was basically a silver-based economy. If you go to parts of the Middle East, they still have much more confidence in silver than they do in other metals. So this is not a new thing that the world has tried something, a real asset to back a currency. Maybe we will try again, but the problem with gold or silver-backed currencies is there are problems, and they never last because there are problems. The main problem is when things get tough, because gold causes discipline to politicians. Well, politicians don't like discipline, so they change the rules. And it's easy to change the rules, and that's why gold has never really been a successful long-term backer of currencies. Nothing has been. I'm sure we're all going to have digital currency eventually. If you go to China now, you can't take a taxi with money. You have to use your phone, their phone money. You can't buy an ice cream in China with renminbi. You have to use your phone money. They're ahead of the rest of us. Everybody's working on it. I'm sure we're going to have digital money in the future. Central banks love it. It's cheaper. They don't have to print it or transport it or anything. And more important, they know everything you do. Antonio, they know. They're going to call you up one day and say, you've been drinking too much tea this month. Stop drinking so much tea, because they'll know everything you do. They love it. It's not good for you and me, but it's good for them. But it's coming. It will certainly come for a while. Then something else will change. But no, I certainly see government digital money in our future.
And how do you use that then? Again, I guess to repeat a question from earlier, how do I use that knowledge to my advantage? If it eventually is going to turn to digital currencies, what does that mean for a portfolio? What does that change for me?
Well, you might want to short the people who print paper money, but it's not going to have that much change on you. You're probably going to, at least in many people, at least for a while, are going to think it makes their life better because all they have to do is go on their phone and pay their bills or check their bank or whatever. Many people are going to find it wonderful. Then they're going to realize, oh my gosh, those people in the government know everything I'm doing, and they might not think it's so much fun after a while. But from the beginning, anyway, we're all going to think it's great.
No, that's
Me,
how a lot
not
of
me, but I'm not going to think it's great because I know the consequences. The US dollar is the world's major currency, the world's international medium of exchange for many, many reasons. It has been for a few decades. It's probably coming to an end. Nothing has lasted more than 100, 150 years. We've had many international currencies throughout history. And the US dollar is probably starting to come to the end. Not this month, don't worry, not this month, but it was very strong for a long time. I own a lot of US dollars. I can see that it's going to have problems. I don't know what's going to compete with the US dollar. I don't know what's going to replace the US dollar. If you know, please don't announce it. Send me an email because I want to buy it myself. And I don't see anything on the horizon. You would think that the Chinese renminbi would be the currency, but it's still a blocked currency. So you cannot have an international currency that's blocked. So I don't know what's going to compete with the dollar in the future. I look every day, I assure you.
well,
But in the meantime, I do own US dollars. They've been very strong for a while. I worry about that, but I'm not sure where I should put my money. I do have some renminbi. I do have a few other currencies, but I don't know the answer.
Discussing the current state of the U.S. markets, Rogers highlights that historically, the U.S. markets have yet to experience such a prolonged period of growth, spanning 14 years. While this extended period could indicate that the end might be approaching, the U.S. Federal Reserve has raised interest rates substantially from their previous levels to combat inflation. However, these increases remain comparatively modest historically. Rogers believes that this is in line with the existence of lag effects throughout history, which means that there is often a delay between when interest rates are raised and when they significantly impact the economy. Regarding market fluctuations, Rogers highlights that markets typically exhibit a cyclical pattern of ups and downs rather than continuous, linear movements. The current corrections and inflation concerns are a normal part of market behavior. He critiques the decision-making of those in charge of monetary policy, referring to them as bureaucrats and academics who might panic and raise interest rates again if inflation returns. Let's get back to the interview.
Speaking of the U.S. market, the U.S. market's never had such a long up period, 14 years now. So historically, we must be coming to the end, but that doesn't mean it has to ever end. Maybe it'll go on another 14 years. In my view, there are signs that we're coming towards the end. I'm not selling short yet, but I can see, we have a lot of new people coming into the market. They call their friends and they say, I've discovered this new thing called the stock market, and you can make money. And it's easy. It's easy to make money. And everybody's very excited. Some stocks go up every day. I've seen all of this before. These are signs that we're getting towards the end. It's not the end yet, but we're getting there. There are lag effects throughout history. Again, this is not an opinion, just look it up. And we are having a lag effect. But the U.S. has not raised, they've raised interest rates a lot from where they were, but historically, they're not up a lot. 5% is not a gigantic interest rate in the U.S. In 1970s, we had a big inflation problem. The interest rate on short-term treasury bills, government treasury bills, was 21%. Mm-hmm. That's not a typo, 21%. Interest rates now are 5 or 6%. I don't know how high they're going to go before this is over, but I know that we've printed staggering amounts of money. And by the way, in 1980, the U.S. was a creditor nation still. Now the U.S. is the largest debtor nation in the history of the world. So I would suspect that before this is over, not in July, not this month, but before this is over, interest rates will be much higher. markets go like this. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down, but they don't go straight up or straight down. So what's happening now in the US, in my view, is just a normal market. Things are correcting, inflation's correcting. The Fed, they're not very smart people. They're all academics and bureaucrats. They think that they've solved that they did it, that they've solved the problem, and things are okay. But when inflation comes back, when we have a rise again, they will panic and raise interest rates again. These are bureaucrats and academics. These are not smart people. That's why they work for the government. I own uranium, and uranium is nuclear power is certainly cheaper and more efficient than coal power, for instance, if you do it right. I mean, if you have an accident, you don't want to have nuclear energy. But as long as nuclear energy is handled properly and is safe, it's much cheaper, it's more efficient and everything else than coal or something else. I mean, the world's only had a couple of gigantic nuclear power accidents in the last 100 years. They were bad, they were disastrous, but 2 out of 50 years or so is not a bad record. I'm not suggesting you run out and build a nuclear power plant. I'm just saying that nuclear energy is efficient and cheap.
While gold and silver-backed currencies have advantages due to their tangible value, they often struggle to maintain stability over time. Additionally, the long-standing dominance of the US dollar as the world's primary reserve currency might be reaching its limits. If the dollar declines, it could lead to increased demand for precious metals. What are your thoughts on the future roles of precious metals and the US dollar in shaping global monetary systems? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you found this video informative, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and enable notifications to stay informed about our latest videos on silver, gold, and copper. Thank you for watching, and we appreciate your support.